What's up YouTube? Capital G here. The last two Kaiju monsters from Shining Victories have been revealed. Now this is to, I guess, not my surprise, but this is not particularly, it's not something I'm super excited about. I like more Kaiju support. I thought X-Files is a pretty good card, but I didn't want more monsters. I've been saying for a little while now, Kaijus don't need more monsters. They need more spells and traps, and they need more ways to hold counters and to accumulate counters, because if you look at all the monsters, they're like so interchangeable. And plus, I just think Gamecill is like the best one. He's just a walking solemn judgment that banishes. So I feel like they're not going to drastically improve like how good the monsters are to the to the point of, wow, I have to run this monster. The monsters are so interchangeable. It's the spells and trap. Like, you don't see Kaijus not running Waterfront because you need them. You don't see them not running Interrupted Slumber because you need that. You know what I mean? They need to make more cards like that you absolutely have to run, rather than making more monsters that are just kind of okay, but maybe I run this one because, like, does something that I like more or something like that. But anyways, let's look at these two cards. First, we have Super Anti-Kaiju War Machine MegaCapitalG, which, try and say that name 5 times fast. I assume that this is supposed to be like the Mecha Godzilla. I don't remember that Godzilla movie. I think I would have just assumed it was supposed to try and kill Godzilla. By the way, the images are here. Somebody got their hands on like everything in Shining Victories. Like, seriously, somebody got their hands on a couple of boxes of Shining Victories. If you guys want to check this out, I'll have it in the description. You can see some of the rarities of some of the Shining Victory cards. You guys see some of the name changes. Like, not too fond of this one. Amorphich Goliath. I thought Iridium was an awesome name, but Goliath is just, it's like so generic, you know what I mean? Some of the rarities of some of these cards, Drowning Mirror Force, as opposed to what we've been calling it, Rippling Mirror Force. Anyways, so this is level 8. It's light machine. Question mark attack, 2000 defense. Level 8 does mean like trade-in is consistent in this deck, in my opinion. If you want to run trade-in, there's enough level 8 Kaijus, go for it. Cannot be normal summon / set because it's a Kaiju. If your opponent controls a Kaiju monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only control one Kaiju monster, again, because the Kaiju, all of those had that in there. Once per turn, you can remove 2 Kaiju counters from anywhere on the field. Equip 1 Kaiju monster from your hand or graveyard to this card. This card gains attack equal to the combined attack of Kaiju monsters equipped to it by this effect. Okay, so to me, this card it's kind of weird. The effect makes sense, but it also doesn't have like as much utility as the other Kaijus, because if you notice, you can't summon this to your opponent's side of the field. It has no effect about like you contribute to summon it to your opponent, but it does offer, I believe it is the only Kaiju that you can special summon in defense mode, because most of them say, unless this is mistranslated, which I don't think it is, all the other Kaiju say that you can special summon them to your side of the field in attack mode. You can special summon this in defense mode. I wouldn't really recommend that, but I mean, you can if you want to, something like that. Now, the fact that this card is essentially useless unless you have Kaiju counters on the field is not a good thing. In fact, it's probably enough to make me not even recommend running this card or ever want to run it. I mean, yeah, it has a very high ceiling. The fact that you can get, a few Kaiju monsters, equip this guy, and he could easily get to 6,000 plus is really cool. But if you summon it and you don't have any Kaiju counters or any way of accumulating counters, then, I mean, you have a 0 attack monster. So, what did you really accomplish? You didn't accomplish anything. So I probably wouldn't run this card because it's too conditional on having counters. You know what I mean? Like, why run this when you could just run something like Gamecill or the Moth one or the original Dugaran or the freaking 3300 guy? Like, the one that stops targeting effects. Like, he seems, considerably better. Then there is Thunder King, the Lightning Strike Kaiju. That name, though, we already have a Thunder King. Level 9, Light Thunder, 3300 attack, 2100 defense. You can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's side of the field in attack position by attributing 1 monster they control. See, this effect is not in this one. And again, I think it's because this is supposed to be a Kaiju killer, so, you don't want your opponent controlling it, but I still just want to have dual utility. If your opponent controls a Kaiju monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in attack position. You can only control one Kaiju monster. Once per turn, you can remove 3 Kaiju counters from anywhere. Your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated for the rest of the turn. Also, this card can make up to 3 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. This card's effect is extremely powerful. This is like that Elder Entity Azeroth. This is really, really strong. Just being able, like, if you get this card on the field and you activate its effect, like, you can do a lot of battle damage. But again, I just look at Kaiju and I'm like, you really don't need more monsters. I mean, if this is a card that to me seems like it's designed around ending the game. If you activate this, maybe you attack 3 different monsters. This is 3,300 attack, so you should be able to do a significant amount of battle damage. I don't know if it's going to close out every game. I just don't know if 3 Kaiju counters are going to be worth it, because usually my experience with Kaijus, it was only with Waterfront, and those counters they're not the hardest thing to accumulate, but when I negated stuff, or when I, banished those counters, I generally would do it for like Gamma Seal, just a Solemn Judgment every single, time that I used it, which could answer pretty much anything. This is very, it's very definitive. If you activate this effect, you probably need to be trying to push for game that turn. So, I mean, this card has a very high ceiling. I could probably say you can run, a couple of copies of this, depending on how many counters. If you find yourself getting, anywhere from 6 counters on the field at a time, then yeah, I can recommend this card. But if you're only finding yourself with like 4 counters, just stick to the Kaijus that banish like 2 counters, because you're not gonna be able to use this guy in consecutive turns, I don't think, unless you just have counters galore. And this card is kind of weird. I probably wouldn't run it. So let me know what you guys think. Again, I think that these spots would have been better served if Konami would have made these like traps or spells. I mean, they could have easily given Kaiju a counter trap. Like that would have been really nice. Maybe a counter trap that gives, Kaiju other cards like Kaiju counters or something, and could negate like a summon or like a spell or trap. That would have been kind of awesome. But let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching as always.